Join me, Kevin Donaldson, as I dive deep into the reasons why suffering exists in our lives and challenge myself to find meaning in the pain we all go through. Stay tuned. Suffering is a universal human experience that touches every single one of us at some point in our lives. It's an inherent part of the human condition, something that we all have in common, yet we often struggle to make sense of it. The challenge of understanding suffering is that it's a complex, multifaceted, and deeply personal experience. We can try to pin it down, to put it into a neat little box, but it always seems to slip through our fingers. Suffering can take many forms. Physical pain, emotional pain, loss, anxiety, depression, the list goes on and on. And yet, despite its prevalence, we often find ourselves asking the same questions. Why does it exist? What's the point of it all? Is there a way to escape it? One of the biggest obstacles to understanding suffering is that it often is shrouded in mystery. We can't see it, we can't touch it, and we can't quantify it. It's an intangible force that seems to come out of nowhere and wreak havoc in our lives. And yet, despite its elusive nature, suffering has a profound impact on our lives. It can shape our identities, inform our relationships, and influence our worldview. When we're in the midst of suffering, it can be hard to see anything beyond the pain and struggle. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that suffering is the enemy, something to be overcome and defeated. But what if we're looking at it wrong? What if suffering is not the problem, but rather the catalyst for growth, for change, and definitely for transformation? Philosophers have long grappled with the concept of suffering, trying to make sense of its place in the universe. Some argue that suffering is an essential part of life, that it's what makes us human. Others propose that suffering is a necessary evil, a crucible that refines us and makes us stronger. From a psychological perspective, suffering can be seen as a call to action, a signal that something is off kilter and needs to be addressed. Culturally, suffering takes on different meanings, and depending on the context, in some societies, suffering is seen as a necessary step to the path of enlightenment or spiritual awakening. In others, it's viewed as a personal failure or weakness. Regardless of the perspective, one thing is clear. Suffering is an integral part of the human experience, and how we respond to it can have a profound impact on our lives. But here's the thing, suffering can also be a catalyst for growth, for resilience, for transformation. When we're faced with adversity, we're forced to dig deep to find reserves of strength we never knew we had. We're pushed to re-examine our values, our priorities, and our sense of purpose. And in the aftermath, we can emerge stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Suffering can be a brutal teacher, but it's one of the most effective ones we will ever have. As we navigate the complexities of suffering, it's easy to get lost in the weeds. We can be bogged down in the details, in the what ifs and the whys. But the truth is, suffering is a mystery that may never be fully understood. What we can do, however, is learn to lean into it, to embrace the uncertainty and the discomfort. We can choose to see suffering as an opportunity rather than an obstacle. In the end, suffering is a fundamental part of the human experience. And while it may be difficult, it can also be transformative. So as we close out this video, I want to leave you with this challenge. What if you were to approach suffering as a catalyst for growth rather than the enemy to be defeated? What if you were to see the pain as a chance to learn, to evolve, and to become the best version of yourself? Hey, thanks for watching, and if you've got a story about how you've overcome suffering in your life, please share it in the comments below. And if you're interested in exploring more videos on personal growth, be sure to check out my next video on the Suffering Podcast. And as always, please take care of yourself, take care of each other, and God bless.